Okay, here we have a game of Youngbloods versus a team that doesn't have a name. They seem to have their names kind of lined up in a queue. First ban is Death Prophet, kind of a common ban. Very good pusher. Razor, one of the strongest anti-carries in the entire game. These are pretty normal first pick bans. Slark, they must get pub stomped by Slark quite a bit, and Void's pretty common as well for the Wombo combo. Okay, so Radiant has the first pick. They take Ogre, who's kind of regarded as one of the best supports in this entire patch. So that gives them quite a bit of roaming potential and possible late game with the multicast. Not much else to say about Ogre. Really tanky with the armor and the HP regen at 3 or 2.525 or whatever it is. And then his starting 7 armor makes him really strong and really good roamer. Pretty good 4 position. You can buff up anybody with the Bloodlust. And then something that Root Gaming's been doing is they've been playing a mid and rushing the Agnums for attributes of speed. So you have the possibility to burst for like 800 to 1,000 damage, which is really strong. In the mid game, early mid game, on like almost any support hero, you can almost one-shot them sometimes. And with the 2 Fire Blast, you pretty much can take down anybody. They've had a lot of success, but they are a lower tier 1, more of a tier 2 team. Waiting on the first 2 picks from Team Youngbloods, and this is just a disclaimer, I'm Rizard on Youngbloods. So, Youngbloods decided to go with Tidehunter. He could be the support, he could be the offlane. Obviously the Ravage is a really good combo breaker. It's initiator / counter initiator, depending on what you need it to be. And then surprisingly they went with Omni Knight here, who that gives them 2 melees right off the bat. Omni Knight's probably going to be more of a support, but he could be an offlaner too. Right now I don't see too much synergy. And then the Rubik was a really good pickup by this Radiant team. Easy Ravage steal. The Purification is really good steal, so is the Guardian Angel or the Repel. He has multiple spells already that he can take from the first 2 heroes. We don't know if we'll see him lined up as a support. He used to play mid quite a few years ago when he first came out, when the hero pool was much more limited. So we'll see what this Rubik can do. That's 2 pretty strong support heroes right off the bat for this Radiant team, and Dire looks like they could have either 2 supports or a possible offlaner or a core in one of those 2 first spots. Back to the bans for Radiant. Terrorblade, really good. One of the strongest pushers in the game right now, right behind Lycan, depending on how you want to play him. It's a good ban. Very nuisance to play against, and as the late game comes on, he can get stronger and stronger. Waiting on the ban from Dire. Earthshaker. Just a generally good support, I guess. I wouldn't have banned Earthshaker. They already have their 2 supports, I feel like, for the Radiant, so I don't know why you'd ban Earthshaker. Medusa's a good core that's been banned recently, with her picking up in the late game and games going an average of 5 to 7 minutes longer, which is like another like core item. And on a hero like Medusa, that could be a rapier or something bigger. So I'm definitely liking the bans from Radiant more than I am from the Dire. If you've already taken out the Void and they already have the 2 supports, you shouldn't be banning out the Shaker, in my opinion. Another disclaimer, normally I'm the captain, but my friend Beast Mode decided to beat me out on the clicks, apparently. So I don't know why we're wasting our reserve time on a ban. To be honest, their Radiant team hasn't revealed too much of their strategy, and the Dire feel like they could or they couldn't have. TA, don't know why she was banned. I guess that Dire doesn't like dealing with a Radiant side TA in the mid lane. I guess I don't understand that ban because Omni Knight has the Guardian Angel and would make TA pretty much useless. But she would be a good mid pickup to Tide Hunter, because if she has that refraction now when that Ravage goes off, she's just getting stunned for that duration, not really taking any damage. And I don't. And I guess Dire doesn't have any DOTs to break that refraction very easily, so that might have been a problem if it was the mid for Dire, or I mean for Radiant, sorry. So we'll see what Dire picks with their third pick. I'm commentating this game. You'll ruin it. No, I'm just saying because you're making me talk to you, nerd. That's my girlfriend in the background. And my baby, who's making lots of cooing sounds. So, as we can see here, the Dire team is really eating into their reserve time. Because when I post it onto YouTube, and if anybody watches it, they'd be like, "What's that going on in the background?" I can mute my mic though. So, as we can see here, Dire's really eating into the reserve time, so I don't know why they're wasting so much time on this third pick. There might be some talking going on that team to figure out what they want to take with this third pick. And they decide on a Jakiro. So right now we have 3 heroes on Dire that could easily be supports or offlaners, any 3 of them. So that doesn't really give Radiant a good idea of what they're playing against, but they do know that 2 of those 3 have to be the supports, in my opinion. You could run an Omni mid, and then run a Tide or Jakiro support / offlane, whichever one you'd rather have on that team, being that positional player for the core. So right now Dire really hasn't released their strategy, and neither is Radiant at this point. But that does give Dire some damage over time, the big combo breaker. So right now we're kind of seeing Dire has quite a few AoE spells between the Ravage and the Macropyre and all Jakiro spells. And then if you're looking at the Radiant side of things, you're seeing a lot more single target with the Batrider Lasso and the Rubik Lift and the Fade Bolts, and all of Ogre Magi's spells are single target. So right now it looks like Dire's grouping up for more of a team fight lineup, and it looks like Radiant's looking more for a ganking pick-off lineup. But we don't know what Radiant's carry is right now, so we don't know if they want to go 4 Protect 1 with the ganking strategy. And as we can see, Team Youngbloods or Dire just picked up a Weaver, so I'm going to guess that's either going to be their mid or their core. I would assume their safe lane carry. Weaver kind of fits well into their draft. Very mobile hero, natural Lincoln's builder. I don't think he's the best pick, to be honest, because you have all these single targets that can break his Lincolns very easy for Batrider to jump in and pull him. If he does survive, he obviously has the time lapse. And hopefully with Jakiro with the long range stun, he can save the Weaver from the Batrider if he does get lassoed. And then the Omni Knight should be able to hopefully Purification Hammer. I don't know, the Omni and the Weaver are pretty good synergy with the Degen Aura and then the max move speed from Weaver, so he can stay and kite them basically. But right now, okay. Is that going to be Radiant's offlaner or their carry at this point? We're not entirely sure. Undying's another support player. So one of these 4 heroes on Radiant is going to have to go mid, in my opinion. Unless they're going for the ultra early mid game and going for like a 20-minute GG. Out of all 4 of these heroes, I would put Rubik mid personally. His spell steal against this other team is very strong, between stealing the time lapse, the Shikuchi, the Ravage, any of the spells of Dire. I would want to steal as Rubik. Very strong spell steals this game. But Undying does give this team some AoE, as I was talking about how they needed some more team fight. Dire went down to 3 seconds of their reserve time. I think that Storm Spirit was kind of a panic ban. Not sure though. So the Undying does bring this, does give this team more AoE, a little bit more team fight potential. But obviously you can see that Dire has a much stronger team fighting lineup, and the Radiant team is much more based on pickoffs and early ganks. So we should probably be seeing some early smokes out of this team. And Radiant bans a Brewmaster, I'm assuming because they don't think the Weaver's going to go mid, and neither does anyone else in the team. Brewmaster would be another really strong team fight hero for this team, which would mesh really well with the entire team, in my opinion. So that's a good ban by Radiant. So we're still waiting on the Radiant safe lane carry, or their 1 position. I think that Youngbloods is going to have their 1 position be that Weaver. And I can't tell you who's going to be the other support. for the 2 supports, because right now we have 3 possible supports. So we don't know who's going to be playing that core role. And there's Youngblood's mid OD. It's a really strong lane dominator, so whoever he's going to go against in the mid, he should be able to win that mid lane matchup with his arsenal of abilities. And I'd assume against a Rubik, he should be able to win that lane, but it might be rough with the instant cast on the lift and then how the Astral Imprisonment kind of has a cast time on it. But OD gives this team even more AoE team fight, and all of these heroes on this Radiant side do have lower int. Ogre's an int hero, really strong strength gain. So his ulti will destroy the Ogre. The Rubik will not build as many int items as the OD, so he should get blown up by that. And the Bat Rider's int, but you don't really feel like he's an intelligence hero halfway through the game. You feel like he's more of a strength hero. And then Undying, he has good intelligence gain as well, but I think that the OD is going to have a good impact on this game, to be honest, with the way this team has been drafted so far. And we're still waiting on that Radiant last pick. So we'll see where this goes. They got another minute. If I was to guess lanes, I'm going to assume that Dire's lane will be OD mid, Weaver safe lane. I don't know who's going to be the offlaner between these 3 that are left, the Hunter, Knight, and Jakiro, but whoever goes offlane, the other 2 are going to go with that Weaver, I feel like. And I feel like Radiant has a really strong aggro tri-lane with just Ogre and Undying at this point. Okay, so they're going to go with a Lone Druid, so that will give them really strong late game and more split push. So right now, they are looking at more of a 4 protect 1 and ganking with those 4 other heroes besides Druid, and it looks like Youngbloods are looking for a little bit more team fight and tower push is what it's looking like with this Jakiro and all the AoE on their side. What? I just started casting this. Do you want me to stop? I can stop it and then I can cast it later and then like put the segments together. Okay, so what the heck? Okay, so sorry, I was having problems with my thing. Alright, let's do a Radiant introduction. Alright, on 2 JOJ 5 Roach, we have the Ogre Magi, who bought wards already. And then on Jackoi Lantern, we have an Undying. And on 2 Imba 5 Spirit, we have a Rubik. On the faces, Yoruki Shun, we have the Bat Rider going off lane. 2 tanks, 5 me. The Lone Druid is going safe lane. Okay, it looks like we have an answer on the Dire. We're going to have Hydra going off lane as the Jakiro. Well, he's going safe lane. It looks like Dire's going to go aggro tri-lane with the Tide Hunter, the Weaver Beast Mode on the Weaver, Impact Slayer on the Tide Hunter, and then we're going to have Rizard on the OD. Looks like he's going to be going mid, I'd assume, and then we have Braveheart on the Omni Knight. And right here we're going to have a little bit of action. The first minute contesting the rune. We're going to see where this goes. Looks like this Lone Druid should be okay. We have some rotations from that Undying coming. He's going to walk out fine. He's just going to have to eat a couple tangos. So we'll see where this goes. OD's going back to lane. We are kind of having a skirmish up here. I think everyone's going to make it out okay. Neither one of these teams have very strong level 1 fighting potential. So looks like this Weaver's going to go on the... Nope, wisely backs off. He's a pretty squishy hero, and the more decays that this Undying gets, the stronger he's going to get. Alright, so... And it looks like we have this this camp warded off by the Dire. And they should have another ward somewhere. This is a Radiant ward. This is another good ward. But I think they were assuming a tri-lane would be up top, so that ward's not going to help out as much as you'd hope. And we have another Radiant ward on the runes. Omni Knight's starting to make some rotations. Looks like he's going to be going for an early Soul Ring. That's where that second ward goes down, so the mid can see the ward. I can't talk?
Chicken. Then there's like...
Alright, so we're in the game right now. Very little action is happening. Right now the OD has the most last hits. Lone Druid not far behind. I'm having more issues with the camera. So right now, nothing's really happening with these lanes. Everything's pretty... Oh, here we go. Lift on the OD. Use the imprisonment to save himself. Don't know why he's going back. He's going to survive with one more hit. Alright, let's see if he's going to go back to Fountain or what's he going to do. It's kind of not safe to stay around like that. I'm going to go back down to the bottom. This is where any action's going to happen. Not much going on. Kind of just trading hits, hopefully coming out ahead on that Germinate attack. So, we'll see what happens. Oh. It looks like that OD did end up getting a healing salve. Still not much going on in this lane. This is where I would expect the most action to happen, is in this aggro tri lane down here on the bottom. So far everyone's just passively farming. Not much else to say. Not much roaming going on by either support. This bottom camp is still warded. Magi has sentries in his inventory, so he's going to be looking to deward that soon. And another look at the farm check. It's kind of even. OD is winning the mid lane with the last hits and the denies, and Weaver's pretty close too. Weaver has more last hits than Lone Druid, but that's not saying much. And then Jakiro is barely beating Bat, right? I'd call that even with the one more deny for Bat. Look at this top lane. Oh, going on Jakiro. Let's see what Jakiro's going to do about it. Just walk away. Alright, not much is going to happen. Oh, and it looks like we have them going on this Lone Druid. First Blood. And that's going to go to the Weaver, so that's really going to help accelerate his farm. So what Dire needs to do now is they need to just back out. Oh, they're going to go for another kill. Let's see if they can get it. That Decay is getting really strong. Right now that Undying has 1,000 HP, which is a lot. Multiple triple Decay steals. Nothing much else. Jakiro is winning with the last hit battle up here with the Bat Rider, which is good. Go back to the mid lane, do a quick farm check. Go over to this net worth. Weaver is leading the net worth with OD not far behind. And the Tidehunter is going more of a support build with the Gush and the Kraken Shell, not much of the Anchor Smash like that normal offlane build. And Syllabear is doing what most Syllabears do nowadays, which is just stack everything onto that bear, which I don't quite agree with. I prefer dual bashers on the hero and the bear. Another triple steal. This Undying looks like he might be caught out. Nope, he's okay. Tidehunter taking a lot of damage. Safety repel put on, just for good measure. Trying to take out this bear. It's really tanky though with the stout shield and the 4 armor it gets. So, yeah, not much going on in this tri-lane. That Rider did just jump up on the net worth charts, so let's see if he's got a bunch more last hits. Yep, started out last hit this Jakiro now. Both of those heroes in the off lane and safe lane for respective teams are a very good 1v1. That Rider did get his Tranquils. Saving up for that Blink Dagger, that's going to be really integral part of their entire team, in my opinion. And the Rubik ran top with the haste, looking for a play. He's got that spell steal now, so he's got a pretty good shot at stealing something. And he's going to automatically steal the Astral Imprisonment from the OD, which is always a good thing to steal. And they're just going to steal intelligence right back and forth. Kind of just nullifies what each other are trying to do. Omni Knight's mid looking for a gank. I don't think he's going to find it. We'll stay around this mid lane with this Jakiro starting to rotate in. And there was the Astral Imprisonment. Let's see if the Jakiro to get the Ice Path. Good Ice Path. Not much follow-up though. There's no spells for either team really. You have a Purification and then that's about it. So right now not much going on. In the laning stage, Batrider was left to do some more free farming. I don't know if it was the best decision on this Jakiro to go around and roam. He's not really having much of an impact. We'll see if anything happens on this bottom lane with him and the Omni Knight moving down. Both these Undying and Ogre are both underleveled, and so is the Lone Druid, in my opinion. The thing about these aggro tri-lanes is they're meant to shut down the other carry's farm, and as we can see here, the Lone Druid actually has more farm than the Weaver, but if we go to the net worth chart, the Weaver's slightly ahead because of killing tombstones in that first blood. So right now this aggro tri-lane isn't really doing as much as Youngbloods would hope. Oh, here we go. Here's a big decay again. I don't think anything's going to happen from this. I think this is just mutual respect. And we see the OD rotated up top. This Batrider is very close to his blink. He's 200 gold off. Oh, here we go. Ogre, I just missed that kill, I'm sorry. Magi killed the Jakiro. I'm going to assume this is from the Rubik lifts. Here we go. He's going to try and trade himself for that Undying. It's not going to happen. And the Weaver picked off the Magi in the corner and got another kill on the Undying. That's 2. And Jakiro... And... Oh, that's a good Shikuchi to save himself from those attacks. He's going to try and live. Oh, good play by the Rubik. Let's see if the Jakiro can make anything out of this. Nope, terrible Ice Path. So, nothing comes out of that. That was a really bad play by that Jakiro. He's probably going to pay with it for his life. Yep. Just not playing well. Oh, and we have the OD going on the Batrider. Let's see if anything comes of it. Nope. Just going to eat a tree and move out. Juking this OD really hard. He's going to be fine. He has his Blink Dagger in his inventory. He'll be getting that pretty soon. Weaver currently has a Ring of Health, working towards that. Lincoln's, I would assume. Omni Knight's getting close to that ultimate. Jakiro still level 6, not level 7. Kind of just going all over with his abilities, not really a real skill build. He's missing out on a lot of farm. He needs to get that Yules as fast as possible to be effective, and he's only halfway there, if that. OD is still top. We still have this tri-lane down here, just trying to take out each other's sentries. Oh, we have a good Ice Path. Let's see if they can kill that bear. Nope, lift on the Weaver, another triple DK steal, Shikuchi from the Rubik, repel, tombstone drop, big macro pyre. I don't think much is going to happen from it. This Omni Knight's kind of left to die. And right now the Weaver's hopefully going to be able to get a return kill. Nope. Spirit Bear is going to survive with 15 HP. And Rubik just got his Blink Dagger at 10 minutes. So... right now we look at the net worth chart. OD is still just farming. Here comes a TP. Oh, the lasso. Lasso Blink Dagger initiation, and OD's just going to prolong his death right here. Yeah, he's not getting out of there. Omni Knight made a TP, but it was a little bit too late. We can see the Tide Hunter is saving up for his Blink Dagger. And Jakiro's still working towards that Yule's. Ogre has very little money. I'm assuming he's been warding. Weaver still just farming away. Spirit Bear. Or Syllabear, Lone Druid, sorry. He doesn't have much for an item yet, but he does have about 1,000 gold in the bank. Go back up top. We just have a little bit of hits being exchanged. A lift on this, oh, good purification, nice repel. Another missed ice path. Jakiro goes down. That Guardian Angel just a second too late. So, we have more rotations. Weaver coming up top. So we'll see what happens. OD is still farming. You'd think the Weaver would be more of a one position, but I think this OD is feeling like he's going to need to carry this game. And he has very good matchups with this team. Right now, I'd say that Radiant is well ahead. We can look at the XP graphs. So for the difference in XP, Radiant's ahead by a little bit over 2,000. And if we pull up the net worth graph, Radiant's ahead by another 1,000. So they do have a small lead right now, and they have a 5 kill difference, but Dire did get that first blood, which is helping quite a bit. And for towers, we're still even everywhere on the board for towers. After 13 minutes, neither team has really good pushing power besides the Jakiro and Dire. Or the Syllabear, I guess, but he's not hitting hard enough yet for his demolish ability to really do a lot of damage. And he put phase boots on his Spirit Bear. Jakiro's coming in. Let's see if he can hit something or do anything. One good ice path. Fortunately, it's only level 1, so it's not going to save him much. Let's see if they commit the Ravage to this. Oh, they're going to commit the Ravage. I think that's going to be a dead Spirit Bear. There we go. Oh, Rubik with the big spell steal for the Ravage. And what does he have now? Activates his invisibility rune. This Rubik is just making plays all over the place. But that is a pick-off on their core. I'm just going to drop him a little bit lower than that Weaver. And this Rubik's still hanging around, just looking for a play. Probably waiting for this TP support. Yep. We have... Let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. And the Omni Knight healing himself, no repel. Omni Knight goes down, Tombstone, ult popped, a lift, Acropire. Let's see if the Undying goes down. There goes the Jakiro. So Undying does go down. The Weaver comes back around and cleans him up. Let's see what he does. He's going to time lapse and he's going to Shikuchi. Good plays. And I don't know why the OD's showing up now. Now's not such a great time. Fight's a little bit over and everyone's kind of been moved around and very low in mana for everybody. And it looks like the OD might pay with his life. He's going to drop his ulti, hit the Ogre a couple times, and he does take out the Ogre, so that's a good play right there. Weaver has his Perseverance. Looks like he's going to skip Treads and go straight for that Lincoln's. Omni Knight's probably going to be building towards a Mana Boots. Tide Hunter got his Blink. Jakiro denied the tower from the Syllabar. Didn't see that. So we're going to call that a win. Right now, a 1 tower advantage for them. Bat Rider working towards the Force Staff, and Rubik is, I don't know what he's going for next. We'll see. But Dire is trying to take out this top tower. It is taken out, and let's see if they go on this. Here we go. They're going to, let's see if they can get anything done on this. And unfortunately, there was nothing they could do because the Rubik blinked right away. And now I think the OD is going to go down. There's no heal, no repel. And he did end up dodging the Guardian Angel from his own team, surprisingly. So, the Omni Knight might pay with his life. We'll see. He does have the repel. And there you go. He just drops the Guardian Angel on his own team. This Rubik is having a lot of big spell steals, like I said in the draft earlier, that he has a lot of great spells to steal between that Ravage and that Guardian Angel. And Radiant did just smoke up to try and get a pick off. Here we go. They're going right on this. Oh, big breakup with that Ravage, but that's an easy steal for that Rubik if he can get the steal off. And he has a Purification. So Tidehunter just kind of suicided himself, and we'll see what happens to this Weaver. Weaver did not use ulti at all. Thought he could man mode. So that's a 4 or 5 or that fight was way too broken up, but let's see how this turns out. OD just got a 4 staff, so we'll see if that can do anything in these battles. Jakiro just took down the bottom tower, and the top tower just went down for Dire. So let's check the XP again. Radiant's ahead by 3,000 now, so that lead is built. And you can see his net worth graph has been jumping around quite a bit. It's back in Radiant favor, close to almost 750 in the net worth bonus. So Bat Rider's getting close to his 4 staff, about 100 gold off. Ogre got his arcane boots, he's the poorest. Oh, here we go, they're going on the Tide again. Another nice multicast. And the OD is just trying to play defense, so is the Jakiro. Waiting for maybe some rotations or a pickoff or whatever they can get. That's a good ice path by that Jakiro. He just hit 2. Okay. The Undying just melted to the OD ulti and the macro pyre that he was standing in the entire time. So we'll see what happens here. The Weaver just took out the 150 gold. See if we can get a deny in the tower. Weaver did get a deny in the tower. Let's see what happens now. Let's see if this lone druid's going to go down. Oh, the OD did get lassoed, and the Weaver is going to try and pick off this Syllabear. He does get out with 1 HP. Very little HP. Time lapse by the Weaver. This fight is still going on. Omni Knight's down. Back out a little bit. Let's see if this Bat Rider is going to go down or not. They are. We do have some body blocking going on. We'll see. Oh, he does go down. Weaver with the double hit. So that fight was very long, and I'm not sure who came out on top. We'll see. Weaver's going to Shikuchi and probably take out this OD. That's a good return kill. And then he's going to blink. It is a really strong spell on Rubik to be able to have that blink and that Shikuchi at the same time. He can get away from anybody. It looks like we do just have some simple zoning going on by this Jakiro, not much else. And Syllabear is farming again, and Rubik is leading the net worth chart, something you don't see every day. Weaver's a little bit behind by about 200 gold. Bat Rider's number 3, OD's 4, and then the core on Radiant is the lone druid, which is this is their problem because he's their late game and he has much less farm at this point than the other team's late game carries. So we'll see. They are ahead though by quite a bit at this point. They have 5,000 XP now ahead, and they're ahead by 2,000 gold, which isn't as much, but they do have the XP advantage. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch that kill. Looks like Tidehunter was just out of position if this is around the area where he died. And now they're chasing. Let's see if this Jakiro is going to be able to get out, drop an Ice Path, do anything. He's going to Ice Path. I don't think it's going to... Oh, that's a good repel by the Omni Knight. So we'll see what happens to this. Oh, he's gonna get nuked right down. Too much nuke damage, too much single target. So Rubik went for a 4 staff. And it looks like Undying is going for a mech. Strong items. We do have a Ravage up on the Tidehunter. So we'll see where this leads. Bat Rider's back to farming and taking out creep waves really quick, so he does have his blink and his 4 staff. He's pretty much got what he needs for the first 20 minutes, which is really good for this Bat Rider. This is good timings in a lower skill pub game like this. I guess team matchmaking game, but it's still very low skill compared to most games. So you won't be seeing any pro level farm. This OD does have a Staff of Wizardry, and I'm not sure what he's going for. Ogre denied the mid towers. That's more gold lost. Looks like this Weaver is just trying to beat on this on this Spirit Bear. It is worth 300 gold if you do take it out, which is just as good as a hero kill. So we'll see if he chases it. Does have 500 move speed, which is just ridiculous. Jakiro is sitting, still working on that Yules. We're looking at about 21 minutes with no Yules, so not the best farmer on his team. He did start off strong in the lane. Omni Knight is going for that, I would assume a mechanism with the headdress. Yep, going for a mechanism. Still, Weaver is very close to his Lincolns. It's about 200 gold off. And I think this Ogre Magi is going to go down, and yes, he does. He does drop very quickly, and this Rubik, there's not much he can do. He can't fight this team 1v5. And right now, Bat Rider still farming. Same with the Undying. He has decided to max this Decay over the Soul Rip. Probably pretty strong in the team fights because he seems to hit everybody with it. And the Lone Druid is still just letting his bear do all the work, which, like I said, I don't agree with this build. Just a lot of passive farming going on at this point. So, I guess let's look at the XP graph again. It's dipping a little bit, but it is still 5,000 for Radiant and 3,000 gold lead for Radiant. So let's talk about what Dire can do to get back into this game. Right now, the Tidehunter is almost level 11 for that level 2 Ravage, which will do not much more damage, as you can see here. But what Dire needs to do to get back into this game is they're going to need to win a team fight with this a lot of AoE on this team. They're going to need to hit a good Ravage, hit a good OD ulti, have Weaver kiting around these fights, and hopefully when the auto attacks start to happen, Omni Knight can make the right saves and with the purifications and the repels, and hopefully this Jakiro can start to actually hit an ice path. That is how Dire can get into this game, and if Radiant wants to push and keep this advantage, they need to keep looking for pickoffs. But as you can see right now, there's not much vision on there's not much aggressive warding going on by this Radiant team, and their team is really early to mid-game oriented, and they need to get these early pickoffs because as you can see right now, the Dire has just been jungling for the past 3 minutes, and they haven't been punished at all by it. There have been no pickoffs, and you can see this Rubik is being very active, and his team is choosing to passively farm the jungle. So maybe their plan is to get one item up, or get like an item up on all the other heroes on Dire, and then hopefully take that advantage and push with it. But I guess that we'll see what happens, because right now this Bat Rider's just been farming, and when you have this the Tranquil, the Force, and the Blink, you should be looking for pickoffs 24/7 with your lasso on cooldown. And it looks like this OD is going to try and do something to this Bat Rider. He's going to Force Staff away. And I don't think they're going to be able to hit him before this Blink Dagger comes off cooldown. Nope. He's going to blink to the trees and TP. That's good play. So that ulti for OD is down for another 2.5 minutes, which is quite a long time. We do have quite a bit of movement going on up in this top lane. Shikuchi is such a great spell for this Rubik to steal. It makes him so mobile, and all of his spells become that much better. OD is going to get blasted, lifted. He's going to imprisonment himself. Let's see what happens. He's probably just going to end up dying. He's trying to run around. His Force Staff was on cooldown the entire time. He probably should have used that. So, Weaver does have his Lincolns. The mechanism is completed. Looks like a Force Staff's going to be coming out on the Ogre. And I think that right now, Radiant has the items that they need to group up as 5 and push and be able to win, because they do have a mech advantage at this current point in time. And the Spirit Bear is going to be attacking very fast with the Mask of Madness and the Hyperstone. And at this point you can see the Omni Knight's very close to that mech, but if they were grouping as 5 and pushing right now, they would very easily be winning these team fights, in my opinion, with the mech advantage and the decay and the way this Rubik's been stealing spells. Jakiro got picked off around right here. Not much you can do about that. He's kind of out of position in his jungle. So right now we kind of see how this Spirit Bear at max move speed can kind of suck. All he's got to do is just get one lucky root. And let's see if this Tidehunter does anything with this Ravage. That Spirit Bear is just tickling this Tidehunter. And there you go, he blows the Ravage on this Bear. So this Tombstone is here, and it is doing work to everybody. Here we go, Spirit Bear is down. It's a 1-for-0 trade so far. And there goes the Rubik. That was a big kill. Ended a wicked 6 streak. So that's all that gold's going to go to that Weaver. And there's a little bit of lack of team communication. The OD is dropping that Astral Imprisonment on the Undying when it probably wasn't needed. We'll see if they can pick off this. Ogre. Looks like he's probably going to go down. Too much kiting. Another Astral Imprisonment that messes up the ice path, but we'll see what happens. It looks like OD is going to pick up the kill. So that was a 4 for nil exchange going to the way of Radiant. So let's check that XP graph real quick. It dips down just a little bit, but not by much. And the net worth hasn't dipped down that much either. So maybe there isn't much going on. Maybe that was a really good team fight, though, for Dire to get back into it. And that wasn't a normal Group is 5 team fight and push a tower, but it did work. And we can see here that the OD is going for a Agnum, so he is trying to do more damage with that. I guess that they're going even more into the Group is 5. And I believe it drains mana, too. Weaver is done with his Lincoln, still leaving his boots as boots. Tide went for an Urn. We hope to see him go for a Refresher soon. And Jakiro finally finished his Yules, which we saw that last fight, how it was pretty good. It was decent. Undying, like I said, he's not going to have much more item progression. The Rubik looks like it might be going for a BKB with this Ogre Club, or he might be going for an Agnums as well and just wants a little bit more tank ability. No more item progressions for this team, from what I can tell. The Bat Rider still hasn't made an item progression, but he does have 2,500 gold, so I would be looking for a Sheep Stick out of this Bat Rider to be able to lock down that Weaver, because he seems to be the biggest problem for their team right now. He's so mobile that they can't hold him down. And this Rubik is blinking in, and he's going to die. That was a bad decision by that Rubik, thinking he could make all the plays. So we have more fighting going on. That's a good macro player by Jakiro. OD is totally not even in this fight. He's off farm in the jungle, but it looks like he's trying to make his way over. Only person down so far is Omni Knight, and there's the big Ravage. And that's going to take down about the entire team, down to about half. And OD's going to run in and drop his ulti on 2 and just demolish them. So kind of just putting an exclamation point on that entire team fight. That was a long trek for that OD to come all the way from down here, all the way up to here. And the only person who survived out of that was the Bat Rider. So if we look at the XP gain, it's going back into Dire's favor, and the kill differential has gone from 7 to 19 to 17 to 23. And the net worth is now also in the Dire's favor. So just more static farming going on. Looks like a little bit of pushing by the Dire team. So this is what I was talking about with Radiant having a really strong early mid game, and then it starts to drop off as the game goes on and on, because Weaver gets to the point where he has too much damage, and OD is going to get to the point where once he gets that BKB or has a repel on him, he's going to be able to do enough damage just right-clicking you that you can't win. And the Guardian Angel is going to save you. And the Tidehunter Ravage, they don't have an answer to that. Nobody has gone BKB yet to dodge that Tidehunter Ravage, so the only person who has a chance really is this Bat Rider, which he seems to be just content to farm his heart out, and I'm not sure what he's going to go for. He's got 3,500 gold in the bank, and there's a lot of different things a Bat Rider could use, but maybe he's going to upgrade his Tranquils to Boots of Travel. I think right now he would probably need a Sheep Stick, to be honest. A little bit more lockdown for this team and shut that Weaver. I think Jakiro needs to go for a Blink next, and I think Tidehunter is... I think with the Void Stone he's going to be working on a Refresher Orb. And Spirit Bear is doing a Hyperstone. He has a Chainmail, so I'm assuming he's going to be going for an Assault Curious at some point. And he's just keeping it on his core hero so he can keep the armor up. And we're going to have a pause. The door. So, I'm going to speed this up so we can get past this pause. As we can see, the top 2 net worth are going to be Weaver and OD, and then right after that is the top 3 for Radiant. So Radiant is still, in my opinion, doing pretty well for their cores having pretty good farm, but the 2 strongest cores on Dire are ahead right now. It looks like the game's unpausing, so Weaver is back in the game. Jakiro's still just farming the jungle. It's not very, okay, so OD is going to go for a plate mail now. So he has his Agnums, his Force Staff, and I don't know what he's trying to do. He's just following this Jakiro around. Undying is going to do some more defensive warding. They might have felt like they lost quite a bit of control of the game on that last team fight that happened in this middle area. And Batrider does go for BKB, so that is another strong pickup. But I don't think he's been disabled much during these team fights, these pickoffs, when he's going in and taking one person. And he does grab the Omni Knight, put him up on the cliff. Omni Knight's going to heal himself, and let's see if the OD can Force Staff the Omni Knight down. He's waiting for that repel, and he just Force Staffed himself. So a little bit of a fail, but we'll see if they can make anything out of it. And that Rubik just has Shikuchi all the time. That makes it really hard to chase him. And you can see Radiant's just going to Dire's just going to kind of farm the Radiant jungle and just try and chase that Rubik, but they're not going to succeed at all. Alright, we're going to go to last hits and denies, and actually, you can see that the OD and the Weaver have the most net worth, but the Spirit Bear and the Batrider do have the most farm. We can attribute that to the OD's kills and the Weaver's kills as well. And you have to account for the Spirit Bear kills and the Tombstones. Those do give a lot of gold. So, looks like the Spirit Bear and Scylla Bear are pushing top. Dire's pushing the bottom a little bit, I guess. I don't know what they're doing in the jungle. They still looks like they're just kind of looking for pickoffs, maybe. But they're not going to be able to find any because they don't have any strong wards. So, at this point, I think with their cooldowns off, I feel like Dire needs to 5-man and push down the middle, and I feel that they can outpush this Spirit Bear. But he did just take this top 2 Dire. So they'd force a rotation out of him, hopefully, and he is going for that Assault Curios. He's just going for mass attack speed on his bear. Doesn't care much for damage, apparently. Wants to get those root entangles, I would assume. And Lone Druid so we did just get a pick off on Jakiro. Let's check the kills deaths. So Rubik is 7-2, Weaver is 7-2. You guys can see the assists. I'm not going to say what the assists are. OD 6-4, Undying 6-5, Ogre 6-5, Bat 2-1, 2-3 tied, 2-4 Lone Druid, 1-5 Omni, and you can see that Jakiro is 1-10, so he's been caught out quite a few times this game. And Omni Knight did just take down the bottom tower. I don't know if he can man up on this Rubik though. Rubik can not use any spells on him for the time being. And he is just going to Shikuchi away and tell him basically I'm boss. But I don't think this is going to turn into anything. It might. And you gotta love that Rubik with that. Oh, missed a kill. Sorry about that. Looks like they just chased him down. So, Undying Tidehunter getting another kill on the Undying. I think that was kind of just a retreat from that tier 3 that they couldn't do anything about it. And let's see if anything's going to happen to this Ogre. I think with the 9 armor and like the 1200 HP, he's going to be fine. But he is taking a lot of damage.
Look at him, Richard. Oh, he was sitting up by himself.
And nope. A good purification by this Rubik. So once again, this Rubik just making big plays. And Weaver is going for a Relic, which is surprising. You don't think Radiance would be good at this 35-minute mark, but it might be strong because we do have a Rubik and a Batrider trying to blink away all the time, and Radiance does disable that blink, which would be strong.
It's your book. Oh, you missed it. He's sitting up. Dad's gonna miss all your first because he's so busy on his computer.
Jakiro still hasn't made much of an item progression. He almost has enough for blink. So we'll see what he can do. He's had a really bad game so far. He's just been struggling. And this Tidehunter is getting closer and closer to this Refresher, which will pretty much be the end of it, I feel like, for Radiant. And even with that Force Staff, somehow Batrider was able to totally grab the OD, which I didn't understand that. It must have been close enough at the cast point. And another big multi-cast. some ignites, and everyone's going to walk away okay, I guess. Weaver just throwing out some bugs to annoy him, get some vision. So right now you can see this bottom is being pushed by the creeps, and the top looks like it's getting pushed. And this lone druid still just stacking the attack speed items. Bat Rider has a robe and Blade of Alacrity. The only thing I can think of when I see these two things is a Diffusal Blade, but I'm not sure why a Bat Rider would want a Diffusal Blade. So maybe I'm just losing it. And we do have rotations coming from the Weaver and the Tidehunter going up top. And the OD, and it looks like this team is starting to move as 5, but still very spread out. And we do get a on the Rubik, and he does blink up, and he is going to go down. So good use of the force step by the OD and good team coordination. Those bugs hit him at the last second, so he wasn't able to blink, which was very good. And the Ice Bat does end up hitting the Ogre. And good calls by the Tide, not blowing his Ravage there. I think he was getting a little bit gung-ho. And the OD is, instead of pushing, just choosing to farm the Ancients, I guess. They do have a stack, so. And everyone's backing up on Dire. So let's take another look at the XP graph. It is now very much in Dire's favor. And the net worth is in Dire's favor. Not so much, but it is still there. And they cleared out that Ancient stack, so that's gold that Radiant won't be able to receive. So if I'm Radiant and I can feel that the control in this game is starting to slip, I think that what they need to do is they need to send the Lone Druid out to split push and not keep sending him into the mid lane. And he's going to need to start carrying TPs on himself because he doesn't have any. He does have a TP, sorry. But with the Lone Druid, they should be able to take this Roshan pretty easily, just with Spirit Bear in general. So if they need to start doing some smoke ganks, they're gonna need to ward their jungle to have defensive warding. I think they're going to need to take Roshan too if they want to get back in this game. Because right now, they are not winning these team fights, and that is exactly what Dire is hoping for, is to win these team fights. And a big Macro Pyre, a Ravage, everything used. Weaver has his Radiance. A great Guardian Angel by this Omni Knight. And then a nice steal by Rubik, so now everybody has Guardian Angel. And Weaver's going to come in here, and let's see what he's going to do. That's a 2 down for Dire, 2 down for Radiant, both supports down. We'll support in the off lane. So 1 core, 1 support. But right now this Tide is playing better than this Jakiro, so we'll call him the core. And that Rubik will go down, so that is a 3 for 2. And multiple heroes are going to run away with very little HP. And that's what's going to happen with that. So the Bat Rider's going to go back to farming. And I was right, he is going to be going for a Diffusal Blade, which I've never ever seen that before. And we see the OD's next item progression was a Shiva's Guard. Not sure on that. I think he just wanted more armor. There isn't much right click on this team. And the Radiance. So we're getting closer to that refresher. The Tidehunter is about 500, 350 to 400 off, so that should be strong. Once you get that, I don't see how they can lose. And we do have a Basher coming out on the Spirit Bear. Like I said, I just don't think that there's enough damage on this bear. All there is a Mask of Madness and Assault Cuirass. He's got a lot of attack speed, but he's got very little damage. He's hitting for less than 100. Weaver is farming the enemy's Ancients, and OD is farming the enemy's jungle. So just trying to choke off a lot of this farm. And as we can see, Bat Rider is still just moving around, taking out all of the... basically just cutting the creep waves, which is always a smart thing to do to keep your side from pushing. Omni Knight's at top. Jakiro still doing the jungle like all game. So we can see that this Radiant team really wants to group as 5. OD just put himself in a really bad position going in on one person and ended up on seeing 5. So we'll see what can happen with this. OD does go down. The Tidehunter tried to come in and help. He's probably going to go down. He's got his Ravage in a second. Let's hope he doesn't use it. And he's going to blow his Ravage. And he's going to go down as well. And I think the Rubik stole Ravage. Rubik did steal Ravage, and he's going to cast it. The Macro Pirate. That is a big team fight. All starting with the OD being out of position. So we're going to show the fight recap. That is a 1,500. That's a 1,500 gold swing for the Radiant side, and a very big XP change as well. So let's check the XP graph again, and it is still in the Dire's favor, but it is starting to go back up. And the gold is still in the Dire's favor as well, but that was a very good team fight by the Radiant. Rubik with the big spell steals, taking that Ravage again. He did get picked off. I'm not sure where that happened. But this is what they need to do. They need to push this tier 3 while they have the chance. Weaver did buy back. I think that's a smart buyback so you don't lose a tier 3. And there's not much you can do about that. And Omni Knight is going for, after the mech, the Crimson Guard. And the Bear is going to fall. And we do have Boots of Travel bought by the Spirit Bear. So let's see if that's going on him or his Bear. I'm not sure. This Bat Rider Diffusal pickup is very strange to me. And yes, Rubik is going for an Agnums. I would agree with all the alts he's been stealing. Why wouldn't you? OD is... there's an Ulti Orb coming out for the OD. Maybe a Hex. Obi Staff for Impact Slayer, which would be this Tidehunter. I feel like he had that before, though. Maybe he dropped it. Okay. The Bat Rider's still just taking out creep waves with this Firefly and then the Flame Break ability, I would assume. That's what he's kind of been doing all game. He's been very, very good with his farming. But, as we all know, Bat Rider is probably a little bit better player. But not better player, but he's better played as more of a pick-off hero. So we'll go back to the last hits and denies. We see that Bat Rider is leading last hits and denies, or last hits. OD is leading the denies. Not by much, Bat Rider's leading. And Soul Bear is beating the Weaver, but let's go back to the net worth again. And Lone Druid is on top right now after that big team fight, so that is very good for him. Once again, I don't like how he doesn't build anything on his hero, because once he does that and he TPs out, that bear is useless. And the Ogre Magi was packed off. Ogre Magi, Ogre McGee, people like to call him McGee. So, Jakiro's item progression has been a Blink Dagger, and I'm not sure what he's looking for with that Null Talisman. It doesn't look like much. And OD is going to get picked off again. Oh, a Purification, an Astral Imprisonment. Let's see if anything happens. And he's going to Force Staff himself up on the cliff, so he'll probably be okay. And, yep, there goes. So, Omni Knight sacrificing himself for the greater good. Unless this OD is going to get picked off again. Yep. Another Root Entangle. Another Root Entangle. Yep, he's going to go down. And an ulti from the Tidehunter. Oh, he does take out the Bat Rider, so that makes it a 1 for 2 at this point. And both players smartly TPing out because there are no more disables. Let's see if the Weaver can run down this bear. I think he can. That's another 300 gold taken, so... And he doesn't have... Oh, he did just resummon his bear.
What are you doing?
So the Weaver does have that Aegis, and he has 3,600 gold in the bank. And the Lone Druid is still leading on this net worth chart, but we can see that the team fights are still going both ways. Neither team really has a big advantage, in my opinion. It shows that the Dire does have a slight net worth and a little bit better of XP gain. And we're at the 45-minute mark. We're getting to that point where I think Lone Druid starts to kind of lose his impactfulness, and a lot of the other 3-4 heroes on this team. Bat Rider's always good going into the late game. Undying, though, drops off really hard after about the 20-minute mark, as we saw in this game. He just hasn't had much of an impact besides that Tombstone, and he's been dying very early, so the amplification isn't there. And the Ogre doesn't have his Agnums, and we haven't seen any big multicast. The Rubik has had a very big game impact so far. And it is the later this game goes, the weaker he's going to get with the spell steals not being there. But he is taking very big spells. The Weaver looks like he's probably going to be going for a heart, I would assume, not a satanic at this point. The Tidehunter does have his refresher completed, but I think the courier died in the last fight, so he doesn't have his Obi staff. The Jakiro is going for Reveal Discord, so that's a good pickup. And OD has an Ulti Orb, so I would assume he's going for a Hex, but he could also go for Linken's because he has been grabbed by that Batrider quite a few times, and that's a pretty good surprise factor if that Batrider tries to blink in and you have a Linken's. And Omni Knight did just finish that Crimson Guard, so this Omni Knight is definitely playing more of the 5 position, getting all the utility items, and he's getting quite a bit of farm this game for being that 5 position. So all the alties are up for the big alties are up for the dire side. So in my opinion, they need to group up as 5 and push.
1, 2, 3.
So we do have the Omni Knight just roaming around, probably looking to ward maybe. We see that the Lone Druid did pick up Boots of Travel, so he can kind of try and split push more effectively by using those Boots of Travel to get to the lane and then recall the Spirit Bearer, so he can just push that lane. But we do a quick look on towers. Radiant is ahead by 1 tower, and it looks like we are grouping as 5 on bottom. This might end up being a team fight. We're going to have to see if this Syllabear comes back or not. He did just recently use his Boots of Travel, so he might not be here for this fight. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can get the full effect. Ignite's being thrown out on the creep wave to try and clear the creep wave. Crimson Guard is deployed, so we'll see if they commit to this tower. There is no glyph. They do take it out. So let's see what they're going to push off this. Syllabear is still just pushing top. A lift. Rubik's spell right now is Repel, so let's see if he can get anything bigger. And a Linken's just popped. And let's see what happens. A TP out by... Oh, and there's the big Ravage. There's the big Sanity's Eclipse and the Ravage stolen. But that was a 3-man team wipe, and I think this Rubik's going to go down as well. And the Rubik does go down. So we saw what happened when you drop that Ravage, and then you're able to drop the Sanity's Eclipse right after. It gets ugly. And let's see if this Weaver can take out this guy. Nope, he cannot. Survives with 1 more hit. And the Tidehunter and the Jakiro did stay to take out those barracks, so that is a 1 barracks lead. And the tier 3 was taken out here by the Lone Druid, but he didn't get any Raxes, which is good for Dire. And it looks like Dire's working right on the tier 4s, and I think they might have overstayed their welcome a little bit. Okay, they're smartly backing off. The refresher was there for the Tidehunter for that last fight, which is why we saw the 2 Ravages. The Yules, the Anchor Smash, the Gush. I think that this guy might just be too tanky. And the Tidehunter was a very delayed macro player. They might have been able to get him. And now he's blinking into a 3v1 team fight. Not smart by this Jakiro. He's overextending himself quite a bit. And he's going to go down. The Tidehunter smartly backs off, letting the Jakiro suicide for him. More so, I guess. And we still have more farming going on. Linken's was completed on the OD, so that's what we decided to build. Probably sick of getting lassoed by that Batrider. So, Batrider now cannot grab the Weaver so easily, or the OD. And it does look like Dire is looking to group it top now and take this Rax out. And the Batrider's looking for a pickoff. And he did get that Diffusal Blade to be able to break Repels and Guardian Angel, now that I think about it. And as you can see, he just wasted his lasso and just found out about OD's Linken's, so that was a good play for Dire. And right now, Rubik and everybody is a little bit out of position. So we'll see what happens right here. There's the Crimson Guard. And with the way that this bear is working right now, he doesn't have a lot of damage with that Crimson Guard on. And the OD is going to back off. The Guardian Angel is going to get dropped. It's going to get stolen. Going to get dropped by the Rubik. The Weaver is still going to work. That's 2 down. The OD is going to man mode on this Undying. That's what I'm talking about with him kind of falling off. The OD might just be prolonging the inevitable. He's running, he's got about 50 HP. He should just back at this point. And the Weaver is going to get picked off, I think. Yep, the Weaver is down. And the OD just dropped his ulti and killed somebody. I'm assuming Batrider. And he's going to kill the Ogre now. And if he would have got one more hit, he might have killed that Lone Druid. So we can see how strong that OD gets when he gets later in the game. And I think that there was just too much kiting to go around. The fight recap does not show everything that just happened. That's kind of the problem with these games. So we're going to look at the XP. It's going way down for Dyer. We're almost at 13,000, and the net worth is at about 10,000. So even though with one lane down of racks and it's being pushed into the bases, we can see here, they're still keeping the net worth rather close, and this Lone Druid is really just farming his ass off. So the Tidehunter is doing the Ancients. He does have a Hyperstone now. Not sure what he's going for. I'd assume maybe an Assault Curios. I don't think anybody on their team has it. The Veal was finished by Jakiro. He's going for an Agnums, I would assume, with the point booster. Roche is going to respawn soon, so either team can pick that up and probably help Radiant a lot more. And we do get an Abyssal Blade finished on this bear, so he's hitting much harder now. Bear is hitting for 200 plus. I just don't agree with the item buildup. I feel like Syllabear at this point with 134 base damage compared to this bear at 73 should probably be holding on to that Abyssal Blade so he can get some procs off with his attacks, because the Assault Curious is going to be shared between the both of them. Jakiro is up here pushing out the top lane. It looks like he's going to self-duels, maybe drop an Ice Path. Oh, he's going to blink. That's a good play. First time he saved himself from trouble all game. And we do have the Omni Knight making a progression. Looks like he's going for a Cloak now. He's just going for all the AoE utility. Batrider hasn't. He traded in his Tranquils for Boots of Travel. The Rubik does have Agnums completed now. The Ogre is still working on that Agnums. And the Undying did pick up a Blade Mail. So that's good because he seems to get 3-4 shot at every single fight. OD has a BKB now, so we'll see how these fights go now that he has a BKB and he's not getting insta-disabled. The Refresher is up on the Tide, and Weaver does have a Heart, so I'm looking at this and I'm not thinking it's going to be very good. They are taking Roshan now, which is going to probably be the end of the game, in my opinion, for Radiant in the next 5 minutes. I don't see how they can come back from this after Weaver or OD gets the Aegis. I'm going to assume Weaver with the open slot. With the double Ravage and the Guardian Angel and the Sanity's Eclipse with an Agnums and the BKB, I'm just seeing way too much AoE for this entire team to handle. And it looks like Radiant is pushing top. They do all have TPs, which is good, except for the Batrider. So I guess Batrider's not... Oh, he does have Boots Travel, sorry. And it looks like Dyer's grouping up in the middle. So we'll see what happens. And the Lone Druid does just right-click a MKB, so that bear is just getting huge. And this tower does go down. Not much that Radiant can do about it. More Liquid Fire. The Refresher was just used by the Tidehunter. I'm not sure about that. That might have been a misclick. And the Ravage was just stolen. OD does just pop the BKB and he starts to just right-click that Spirit Bear and he just dies immediately. And with this BKB still going, he's just right-clicking everybody to town. And he hasn't used his ulti yet. He's probably just going to drop it right here. Yup, just destroys that Batrider. And all that's left is that Rubik. This is what I was talking about. Just too much item progression, even with the mess up by the Tidehunter hitting the Refresher. And the Rubik does show his face. He's going to get Yules. There's no blinking out of this. So we do have another Astral Imprisonment on himself. He's going to blink in. I don't know what he's doing. He's going to get that. This bug has been on him forever. And just one-shots him with that Arcane Orb. He's got to be hitting really hard right at this point. 9% of his mana pool. That's 300 damage per hit. That's pretty hard. And the GGs are called out. The game is going down. Yeah, there's not much Radiant can do here. They're done. That's game. And OD does go into the fountain and drop the Astral Imprisonment. Guardian Angel, and yep, that's the game. So we can check the XP graph and the net worth graph. So that's the end of the game, and Dyer does come out ahead with the later game draft. And we can check here at the late game stats. We do have 292 last hits on this side, and the Lone Druid did end up having the most at 301. XP per minute went to the Lone Druid, and the gold per minute did end up going to the OD is what it looks like. Alright, well, that's the end of this